Hi, welcome to Ride Alongside. Today we are taking a look at NiteRider's newest model of their Solas taillight. It's the Solas 250. Let's take a look. Alright, so here is the Solas 250 and the packaging it comes in. It's obviously 250 lumens. It's got this optimal Viz logo on it, and then if we look at the back, it talks about the time, the water resistance, the charge time, the weight, the modes, and some other information on here. So the reason I am showing you guys this, I know a lot of you are mountain bikers and couldn't care less about taillight. However, I ride with one on every ride, and mostly because I ride to and from the trails on the neighborhood streets, not usually the main collector streets, but or the highways, but on the neighborhood streets, just so I can be visible. And I usually ride at dawn. So for the last 3 or so years, I've been riding with the NiteRider Solas 100. So you can see pretty much look identical, except this one says 250 USB and this one says Solas 100. So this one has been an old standby. Like I said, I've been riding with it every ride. I don't necessarily turn it on every ride, but I do carry it with me on every ride, sometimes on the back of a hip pack, sometimes actually mounted onto the mounts that they give you on the back of a seat post, so, or even on a frame sometimes. So the reason I carry it is that it is super bright. Drivers can see it easily, and oftentimes, even if I'm not commuting to the trailhead, I'll be riding across roads or down roads to get to another trail along my mountain biking route. So it's a good thing to keep around. So I've got some stats on the Solas 100 versus the 200. And the Solas 100 came out in 2017 from what I could see. You can't find it on the NiteRider website anymore, but it is still available on some online retailer websites for about $40. It's got 100 lumens, which may be obvious. It's got 4 modes. It's got a flash mode where it flashes the small LED and then the large LED, which is really bright. And that flash mode lasts for about 7.5 hours. And then it's got pulse mode, which stays on, and then I'll give you guys demonstrations of these here in just a second when I compare the two. But that pulse mode lasts about 4.5 hours, and then it's got a solid on that is rated at about 10.5 hours for high and 15.5 for low. And low is about the only setting you can use on a group ride. So like I said, it's 82 grams, which is the same as the Solas 250, the new one, and it charges in about 4 hours, which is the same as the Solas 250 as well. And it's got 180 degree visibility, which is the same as the Solas 250. It requires no tools to mount, which is the same as well. And it also indicates a low battery, which for them, a low battery means about less than 20% battery left, and it will flash red. Otherwise, it'll flash 5 flashes of blue when you turn it off, which again, I'll show you here in just a second. It does blind other riders on group rides unless it's on low, like I said. And motorists often will not like how bright it is. So just beware. You may end up hearing some motorists say, "Your light is so bright that it blinds me. I couldn't see where I was going." So that can be a pro and a con, so just keep that in mind. I tend to think of it as a pro. I'd much rather them see me and be blinded and try to get over in the other lane if they can, than to not see me during the day. They recommend not submerging these, but they are IP64 rated for water resistant, and they have a limited lifetime warranty, which is actually how I got this Solas 250. I had another Solas 100 that I'd swap out, so when one was dead, I would have another one that was just waiting their charge, ready to go, and I put it on my bike or my hip pack and be good to go. Well, it stopped charging. I think it was this USB mini port, but I contacted NiteRider, and one of the reasons why I always ride with NiteRider lights, I have a few other headlights still, but the reason I continue to use NiteRider products on my bikes is because of their legendary warranty status. From the early 2000s, I remember a friend of mine had a problem with a battery on one of his headlamps, a halogen headlamp, in fact, and he walked into the NiteRider headquarters in San Diego and just asked them, hey, can I buy another battery? What do you guys sell them for? And they went in the back and handed him a battery right away, took his old battery and said, here you go, you're all set. And he said, wait, I need to pay for this. And they said, no, you don't. That's our warranty. And they have been great with everybody I know, just replacing stuff just like this. I contacted them through an email and they said, send it in and we'll send you the new model. So sure enough, they sent it to me with all of the charging cable and the attachments and everything. So they're really good, and that's what I knew about them. It's a limited lifetime warranty. So let's take a look and see if we can see a comparison between the two here. So first of all, let's just turn them on. So you the buttons on the top, they look almost identical. They do look pretty identical as far as I can tell. And if we just push it once, you'll see they're flashing and then flashing the big one. Let me let's see if you can see any difference there. Some of these other modes. So the other thing is that you have to hold down the 250 now. It's got a different circuit and different LEDs in it, it looks like. So again, let's push these simultaneously. So when you push them, they are flashing at different rates. I pushed them at the same time. So there's the second mode, that's the pulse. I don't know if you can tell which one's brighter or not. Then there's the solid, I believe that's the high mode. And then there is the low mode, that would be for a group ride where you wouldn't be blinding people quite so much. And then if I push it again, this one goes off and you can tell it's charged because that blue, and it goes off. And then this one goes back to the first mode. So if I hold it down, then it shows the blue, so it's charged above 20%. So let me just open the back up here. I'll show you what these parts are. They include some information, of course, on these papers in a bunch of different languages, show you how to use it and how to mount it and all that stuff. So you can also find that on their website. But this mount has been great. I've used it on many different seat posts, and you can rotate it, you can tighten it or loosen it with that screw, and it's got a few different detents where it will position itself at an angle. Then you just stretch this rubber and wrap it around. Then they also include a micro USB cable, of course. And let's talk about the stats on these two. So let's see. The 100, it has a runtime of, like I said, the flash at 7.5 hours. For the 250, the flash only lasts 6.5 hours. And then the next mode is that pulse mode, and the 100 lasts 4.5 hours, and the 250 lasts 4.5 hours. So that's cool. And then the 100 lasts 10.5 hours on high, but the 250 only lasts 7.5 hours on high. But here's where it gets interesting. The low lasts 15.5 hours for the Solas 100. The Solas 250 on low lasts 40 hours. So that is phenomenal. Another tip about these lights is that on that low mode, you can actually use it sort of like a flashlight, and on the high mode as well. But on that solid mode, you can use it kind of like a flashlight, and the red light actually really helps with your night vision. My boys found a tarantula that had a hole in our backyard, and their white light would spook the tarantula back into its hole, but the red light wouldn't so much. So that was kind of cool. So just beware that if you get stuck out at night and you have a Solas 100 or now the 250, especially this 250, it can last 40 hours on low. So if you're stuck somewhere, your bike's not working, or you're injured, it's nice to know that if you have this 82 gram tail light and you've got it charged, it can last just 40 hours, which is pretty great. So there are other options for tail lights on the NiteRider website, and I just went on there real quick yesterday and took a look at all of them. So like I said, this one runs about $45, and I think it's a great option. There are some other options out there, one of which doesn't have a built-in battery. It's called the Cherry Bomb, and it runs on 2 AAA batteries, and it can go up to 136 hours on pulse mode. It's 82 grams, but I think that's without the battery, and it only costs $25. So if you're looking to do like long distance overnight trips, you're a bike packer who may need to pick up extra AAA batteries along the route and want that ability rather than sitting there waiting 4 hours to charge a light like this, then that might be a good option for you. Another option is called the Saber 110, and that is a really lightweight option. It's only 28 grams. It's got 6 modes actually, but it only lasts for about an hour and 45 minutes, up to 17 hours on the low mode, and it costs $35. My sons have the older version of that, the Saber 80, and I can tell you that it's really bright. Only 80 lumens. It doesn't seem like it's that low on the lumens. It seems like it's pretty high, so I wouldn't be scared away from it in that regard, but it's really lightweight at 28 grams. The other model that they have is also 250 lumens, like this Solas 250, but it's called the Sentinel, and it has actual laser lines that shoot out from it to show kind of a makeshift as you ride bike lane around you, which is kind of cool. It's got 7 modes. It's 116 grams, and it goes for 5 to 45 hours, and it only takes 3 hours to charge. So that may be a better option for you, but it's also more expensive. It costs $15 more at $60. They also have 2 other options. So one of those is the Sentry Arrow. It is $45, so same price as this one. It's got 260 lumens, so just a little bit more. You probably wouldn't ever notice the difference. But it's got 6 modes, so it's got a couple extra modes, but it doesn't last as long on low mode. It only lasts 30 hours. So it's got 4.5 to 30 hours in those different modes. But it's a little bit lighter weight. It's a little bit heavier by just a few grams. It's 65 grams, and it only takes 2.5 hours to charge. So that might be a good option if you like to limit your charge time. And the last option that they have on the NiteRider website right now in 2020 for taillights is the Omega 300. It costs $55. It has 6 modes from 6.5 hours to 36.5 hours, so not quite as long as this one. And it weighs a little bit more at 79 grams, but it's got 300 lumens. So that may be a good option for you. Well, I'm Nick from RideAlongside. I hope that you've enjoyed this first look at the Solas 250. I'll come back and update you if I have any issues with this one, but I take it that just like my 2 NiteRider Solas 100s, they'll last me for many years, and even if I do have problems with it, I'll send it right back to NiteRider because they really take care of their customers. Well, like I said, I'm Nick from RideAlongside. Thanks so much for watching. I'll have more videos for you real soon.